So, dear colleagues, esteemed members of the organizing committee and participants of the conference, today I am honored to present the results of a study devoted to the one of the most pressing and simultaneously most controversial topics in contemporary higher education: the use of artificial intelligence tool during the preparatory stage of research, results of the survive of university lectures in Ukraine. So, please turn your attention on the first slide, and our research covers the period of 24 and 25 and represents a logical continuation of the long-term work of our academic group, monitoring the digital transformation of the Ukrainian scholarly community. The authors of the study, Professor Svetlana Skvortsova, Professor Tatiana Simonenko, Professor Kira Gnezdilova, and Professor Yana Gayevets, represents the South Ukrainian National Pedagogical University, named after Konstantin Ushinsky, and Bogdan Khmelnytsky Cherkasy National University. Moving to the second slide, it is important to outline the context in which Ukrainian researchers currently operate, what we call the perfect storm. On the one hand, the preparatory state of research, problem formulation, literature review, and research design has always been the least automated and the most continually demanded. It determines the quality of the entire scientific outcome. On the other hand, Ukrainian higher education institutions function on the accelerated digitalization driven by martial law regulations and higher uncertainty. Summary pros in the revolution of the large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Cloud, which have rapidly evolved from experimental toys into powerful transformative instruments capable of the overcoming consensual barriers. As shown on the third slide, so the aim of our work was to construct a clear map of the real state forms and hidden barriers of integrated generative AI, specifically at the initial stage of scientific inquiry. The empirical basis of the study is an online survey of 227 university instructions conducted between November 24 and January 25. The methodological funnel of the questionnaire covered demographic profiles, everyday AI usage, details assessment of 7 specific research tasks, and the preparatory stage, as well as barriers and educational needs. And now we have this information on this slide, methodology and research vectors. And the fourth slide, demonstrates a remarkable dynamic leap. Fourth slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. And in early 24, only 5 and 4% of instructors use AI daily, and more than 30 never use it at all. Today, in 25, 94 and 3% of respondents use AI in everyday life, and the share of daily uses has grown to nearly 20%. This clearly shows that artificial intelligence has crossed the threshold of early adoption and has become a basic element of professional digital hygiene for academic staff. And however, as illustrated now, the paradox of the protected core. So at this slide, at the periphery of the research process, initial familiarization with the topic and literature search, AI usage research 65 and 2%. For publication analysis and idea generation, it stands between 52 and 54%. And yet, as we approach the subjective core of the researcher hypothesis formulation, so it's 45 and 8, and methodology selection 36 and 1. AI usage drop sharply, and more than one third of scholars consider AI unnecessary at the methodological stage. And researchers selectively deploy AI to reduce routine cognitive load but retain full subjective control over the architecture of the study. So, and next slide, turning of the next slide, we observe a paradox of universal dominance. So, two landscapes: the dominance of university. So, the universal dominant paradox. What is it, and what we are now? What about we thinking? And what we have? ChatGPT remains the absolute leader with usage rising from 56 and to 75, and you see this information on this slide. So Gemini shows rapid growth, and Copilot and Cloud also demonstrate notable increases. Meanwhile, specialized tools such as Perplexity AI, despite growing from 3 and 9 to 13 and 2, remain peripheral. Scholars predominantly choose universal chatbots due to convenience and familiarity, even though specialized platform provides significantly higher accuracy when tracking scientific sources. So, and next, please, this next slide. This brings us to the key challenge highlights of the 7 slides. So we now look, please, dear colleagues, hidden costs, the verification tasks. So the time saved through text of idea generation is offset by the cognitive budget of verification. 71 and 8 of instructor report the need for constant verification of AI outputs, and 59 identify data inaccuracy, hallucinations, and fabricated sources as the main barrier. Using non-ethical or non-specialized models imposes a heavy tax in the form of time spent on fact-checking. On the next slide 8, we ask what truly determines successful AI integration. Our statistical analysis, including Spearman and Kramer coefficients, so what truly drives adoption? Yeah, now you are looking. Kramer's and Spearman coefficient discovers a common stereotype. Academic experience, degree, or age do not have a statistically significant impact on AI usage frequency. The decisive predictor of psychological perception and cognitive openness, cognitive flexibility, and willingness to adapt outweighs titles and decade of experience. So, and next slide summarize our typology matrix. Universal AI tools offer high creativity. So the AI tools typology matrix. So, and now you see this slide, and Universal AI tools offer high creativity, but carry the risk of hallucinated uh, citations. Specialized AI tools, Perplexity, Elixir, and another, and rely on a real database but require a higher entry threshold. The strategic task for universities today is to guide researchers from familiar universal tools towards a rigorous, evidence-based, specialized analysis. And finally, the 10th slide presents our institutional roadmap. First, universities must develop clear ethical policies and academic integrated regulation. So look, please, dear colleagues, the architecture of tomorrow institutional roadmap. And next second, they must create specialized learning ecosystems. Our data shows that 76 and 2% of instruction express an urgent need for additional training in prompt engineering and critical verification. And third, institutional should support the transition to specialized platforms such as Elixir or another to reduce their verification tasks. So, dear colleagues, in conclusion, the preparatory stage of scientific research has changed irreversibly, and higher education institutions must shift from passive observation to active, systemic architectural integration of new technologies. So, thank you for your attention.